Another week, another round of Assassin's Creed Shadows news, and the Assassin's Creed Instagram account has favoured us once again with an interesting development that not only gets me more excited for Shadows, but brings back a returning feature that we haven't seen in nearly 9 years. Let's get into it. So this was absolutely just shadow dropped out of nowhere. Assassin's Creed's official Instagram account put out this post saying, "Call your shinobi recruits for support in combat. Strike together for the League." Hashtag Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's it. Along with a picture showcasing the different styles of recruits that you can get in the game. Some of them lean more into the samurai aspect with like heavily armoured enemies that resemble Yasuke, and the others resemble more of the traditional Japanese samurai in many different forms. We've got some more ninja looking characters, and we've got some more heavy duty characters, which we did see in previous games. And what's crazy to me is that in another Assassin's Creed game, this would be a massive selling point. Like, look at Assassin's Creed Syndicate. The whole theme is Syndicate. It's around having the rooks. It's about having your own gang and building up an army of these gang members that you could call at any time. You could recruit them. You could bring them along with you on missions. That was like one of the main selling points of the game, is build a gang and control your gang and customize your gang. I mean, we didn't really see too much customization in that, but that was like the whole premise of a game. And for them to just sneakily drop this in on an Instagram post, I mean, that's just strange to me. It's like this should have been a really big announcement, and we'll get a bit more into that later, because I want to touch on the way this game's being marketed a little bit later on. But for now, let's talk about just the implications of what it means to have these assassin recruits in the game. Now, do I mind that they're not calling them assassin recruits and calling them shinobi recruits? No, not really, because I get it. They're going to be shinobi in the game. They're not going to be called the assassins throughout all of history. We've seen that with like the hidden ones and that whole concept. So calling them shinobi, that's perfectly fine. Now, this now makes a lot more sense to me, because if you buy like the Ultimate Edition of Assassin's Creed Shadows, it mentions that you get customization for your gang hideout, like your shinobi hideout, and that makes more sense now, because I think this is where you're going to manage your recruits. And what this means for the story specifically, what I think is got me very excited, is the idea that, okay, Naoya is like the only assassin left after her village was burned down. I think her village, I mean, they mentioned as well earlier, there was a previous Instagram post that Assassin's Creed put out that emphasised that she gets her hidden blade from her father, which means her father must have been an assassin, which means her whole village must have had something to do with the assassins. So the fact that the Templars, maybe, burned down her entire village because of trying to wipe out the assassins and she's the only one left, the idea that her motivation in the game is not only to get vengeance, but to rebuild the assassin order so soon after Ezio built it up to where it was, like having to live up to his legacy, that's a really cool implication. And seeing that it then translates over into gameplay, because you can actually have these assassin recruits that will become part of the new Brotherhood, and that's implemented into the gameplay and its mechanics. That's really cool. That's a really interesting idea, and it means that the thematic ideas of like building back up the Brotherhood, they're not just in passing, they are going to be an integral part of the game. Now, we saw, especially in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations, that the Brotherhood mechanic was very customizable. You could choose what piece of gear your assassins unlocked as they leveled up. You could choose the colours and the customization, what the assassin would look like, which pieces of gear they had. And that seems to be the case here as well, because if I'm to believe that everybody in this picture is one of your assassin recruits, then the customization here obviously won't be intense, it won't be amazingly in-depth, but we can see there is customization levels here, whether you want a heavier character or a lighter character that focuses more on Yasuke's play style or Naoya's. That could also have story implications for whether Yasuke is involved in this, or if this is just Naoya's Brotherhood. Is Yasuke an assassin? Well, clearly not. So what's going on here? Is he part of this? Or is this a mechanic that only Naoya can use? That would make her really distinct. Or is Yasuke going to have an entirely separate team of, like, samurai warriors that can follow him around, and Naoya just gets the stealthier characters? Who knows? Maybe it's more useful for you to have heavier characters with Naoya because you can mix and match and use the brutish approach for something that you yourself can't do. The implications here are really good and really positive for something that is pretty much just been thrown out there. Now, in Assassin's Creed 3 in particular, each of the 6 assassin recruits had their own storyline to go alongside it. You had to complete certain objectives in their area in order to even find out that there was a recruit there. And then you would complete a few missions and you would have these really cool conversations with them where you would get to know them on a more one-to-one basis. And they also had like a lot of unique factors to them. They weren't all just dressed like assassins. These were just normal people who were willing to stand up to the cause, and they sort of fit in with the whole homestead, building a community sort of thing. And that really worked for that game. I don't think that's what we're getting in Shadows. I doubt we're going to get quest lines for these assassin recruits. What it looks like to me when I see this picture are definitely like archetypes. Like you can pick a sword wielder or a club wielder or a ninja sort of build. You pick the build and assign it to the assassin. Maybe we're going to have a mechanic like Kenway's Fleet or like the Brotherhood missions where you would send your recruits around the globe to do these various missions and they would bring back income for you. Or in the case of Assassin's Creed 4 and Rogue, they were ships that you would send out around the world and they would bring back cargo and sometimes exclusive items for you to use in the game. So could we see an entire minigame return for the assassin recruits? Well, that would be a very major selling point. And so I think this is a fantastic idea. I haven't actually pre-ordered Shadows yet, but I'm just getting the feeling that today might be the day because they finally did something I'm happy with. I don't hate this game, I promise. I am actually very much looking forward to Shadows. I just have to be realistic with my expectations in order to actually enjoy it when it comes out. And on that note, let's talk about the marketing of this game, because this has been really weird for me. Why is it that every new announcement they make that is an impactful one is made on Instagram? Why are we not getting YouTube videos or trailers to promote these features? Assassin's Creed has 1.5 million followers on Instagram, which is a massive audience to reach. There's no denying that. And obviously, it's cheaper, because you don't have to pay somebody to compile a trailer just to promote this footage or this mechanic. It's much cheaper to just put out a photograph and say, look, here's the thing. You know, it is cheaper for Ubisoft, but this is a AAA game. This is arguably one of the biggest releases of the year. Assassin's Creed's Instagram account has been frequent, okay? They've been posting every couple of days or so. They've been posting images or little teasers of footage and giving us some real insights into the characters like Naoya and Yasuke, getting their own character bios, and I've been following along with it and having a great time. I think it's really interesting stuff. However, if we go over to their YouTube channel, which is where you would presume the main Assassin's Creed trailers are going to be, Ubisoft have obviously been focusing on Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws is their brand new release that came out, and it just so happened to be really close to the release of Shadows, to where Shadows has had to take a step back in order to properly promote Star Wars Outlaws, and I think that's worked for them. They've had a lot of content going out on their YouTube channel for Star Wars Outlaws, at the detriment of Shadows though. 2 weeks ago, Assassin's Creed Shadows got a trailer which emphasised the two different play styles of Yasuke and Naoya, and I didn't do a video on that because I didn't really see much worth talking about. There was a few interesting points, but they didn't bring their A game to the front. There wasn't enough for me to make a video on them. If you don't count that little playstyle trailer that was 2 weeks ago, it's been 2 months since we got a proper look at Shadows, and that video 2 months ago was just showcasing what you got in the collector's edition, which is already out of stock now, so it's not like a worthwhile video in the long run. Now, I've been saying that I'm waiting for like the story trailers before I really give my verdict on how I feel about this game, and I do still believe that they are coming down the pipeline. We've still got 2 months until the game comes out, And that's plenty of time. Now is when I think the marketing is really going to ramp up because we've just gotten past Star Wars Outlaws, especially in October. I can see this marketing campaign going crazy with like TV spots and all that sort of stuff. And I think it needs to because it's been really quiet. For some reason, Instagram has been making all the major pushes in terms of news for the game, and the YouTube channel has just been really quiet, and that's weird. We should have gotten a trailer that promoted the fact that you have your own Brotherhood recruits. I think that is really important for this game, because this is a feature that is returning after 9 years of being absent. This is a big deal. This is a feature that could get some people to change their minds and buy the game because it now resembles the older games just that little bit more, that it could push people over the edge. If you don't follow Assassin's Creed on Instagram, you have no idea. YouTube, I think, is where you get more of the audience. It's where you have a better chance of getting people to see the game, and especially if it's a trailer, they're going to see better footage of the game and get more of an all-round idea of what this recruit system is. You can't just shadow drop the idea that there is a recruit system and not give us a proper in-depth look at it before the game comes out, because that is going to be really make or break for some people. Does this mean that the recruit system is a very simple system that's not really worth talking about too much, like it's just thrown in there? Maybe, but I'm of the belief that there's going to be some substance to this. Assassin's Creed Shadows is not a cash grab game. This is a game that's getting a lot of attention put onto it. And I'm just not seeing that reflected in the way it's being promoted. But for me personally, I'm really excited for what we have left to see. Because this was an inkling to me. Whoa, okay, there is definitely more to come. Like, there's these little hidden mechanics that they've never even spoke about, and who knows what else they're still hiding. I think there's a lot more to this game that we haven't seen, and today's announcement just solidified that for me. I'm ready for a story trailer, we need to see it. How do you feel about the Brotherhood recruits returning in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and what form do you think they'll take in the actual game? And does this change your mind on the narrative and the implications that it could have? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button and subscribe for more Assassin's Creed content, and I will see you in the next video.
experience of which character is good in what situation.